Hello, this is Nick from Breaker Press Games, and this is the Breaker Bulletin for February 24th, 2024. Alright, so what is going on with Breaker Press Games? For those that don't know, the Breaker Bulletin is my monthly update on everything going on with Breaker Press. Since we always have multiple Kickstarters running, got a Patreon page, always trying to do different conventions and what have you. Want to have something to be able to collate all that information, something that you can watch and take in, during your day while you're doing your dishes or whatever. So, that being said, this is the Breaker Bulletin for February 24th, 2024, and here is what is going on with Breaker Press Games. Now, first and foremost, I want to talk about the Protectorate of Genuine. And I am kind of tired of talking about the Protectorate of Genuine, even though I think it's a fantastic adventure. It's just been a project that we've been working on for a very long time. I was hoping that with this recording, I would be showing off a stack of copies of the Protectorate of Genuine, because it was supposed to be done from the printer on Wednesday. They have now assured me that it will be done this coming Monday. So hopefully I will have all the copies in my hand on Monday, and I will start shipping this coming week. For those that have not picked up the Protectorate of Genuine, they did not back the Kickstarter or pre-ordered yet. Pre-orders are still available and running. It is a 48-page adventure. There is also, if you order from me online, you can pick up a Protectorate deck, which are a bunch of cards. You can play with a standard, utilize a standard card deck, but these actually have iconography on them for the different encounters. That can be really helpful to a GM and for your players that are more visual. So, that being said, that stuff is available on the Breaker Press web store. But with that being said, there should be a very exciting Protectorate-related announcement on Tuesday, March 5th. So stay tuned to all of your Breaker Press / Goodman Games sources for hopefully a exciting announcement on March 5th. So, let's talk about Sorcerer's Rites of the Elements. Let's move on to... here, we'll pull up this image. We'll utilize this image while we're talking about Sorcerer's Rites. So, Sorcerer's Rites will be finished this week, at least the writing portion and editing. I have 2 pages left to fill. So I hope to have it at the printer by Wednesday. Why Wednesday? Because I am going to be going out of town on Thursday to head to Cincinnati. We'll talk more about that later in the bulletin. But Sorcerer's Rites, the Elementalist class is done. In fact, you can actually download the Elementalist class. If you're a Patreon member, you can download it from the Patreon. I also uploaded it to DriveThruRPG. I believe I sent it to all of the Sorcerer's Rites backers already as well. So, the Elementalist class is done. If you have any final input, you basically have about 2 days to get that input in before the Elementalist gets dropped into, actually it's already been dropped into, but finalized in Sorcerer's Rites of the Elements and sent to the printer. So, if you have thoughts, please share them stat. Okay, let's talk about Tragedy at Woodwitch Rise. Okay, so, at, was it Polar Vortex this weekend? This past weekend, a weekend ago, I actually ran it from a quick printout of the adventure. As you can see, I've taken lots of notes, and we'll start applying all of that to the document. This was supposed to be the last playtest, but since Protectorate hasn't shipped and Sorcerer's Rites hasn't shipped, that is going to give me a little bit more time to work on this. As of right now, Tragedy Woodwitch Rise needs a bunch of art. So after having gone through the booklet and looked over the pages and the spreads and how I feel about it, I feel like I need several more pieces of art at the very least. What else? So yeah, a bunch of art, have some spreads that need to be completed. I expect it to take all of March to complete. So, yeah, this is a little bit behind, but I think it'll be worth the wait. I know I always say that, but I feel like it always is worth the wait. But I am an optimist. So, yeah, I ran it over the weekend at Polar Vortex for a group of 5 people. It was an amazing time. They had nothing but positive things to say at the end. So I feel like everything is shaping up as it should. Just need to wait a little bit longer. So, Standard Courier Volume 2. Let's talk about that. Standard Courier Volume 2, I haven't made much progress lately other than fleshing out some of the NPCs. As you know, or you may have known, I had shown off a bunch of the NPC art. All of the NPC art actually is already done. So that was that was Eggard History Keeper. This is the Fire Whisperer. So I've got a bunch of these NPCs that, I've got all of the art already done for, but I just need to finalize their personality traits, and I do that actually at the table. So as my players interact with the different NPCs, I hone how I feel each of these NPCs should behave in the game, and translate that to the I should say from the tabletop to the written word. So yeah. So Standard Courier Volume 2, also a little bit behind schedule, but yeah, the characters are being played on a regular basis, and so it is coming together. So let's flip over my note card, and what else do we need to talk about? We need to talk about Rabid Dogs Volume 2. So, a bunch of progress has been made on Rabid Dogs Volume 2. Here, let me show off some stuff. So, the Patreon backers just recently received the Missileer in the mail, and when I ran the Kickstarter for Rabid Dogs Volume 2, I did have some space to fill, and originally, the first thing that I had written for Rabid Dogs Volume 2 was a early version of the Elementalist. But the Elementalist appears in Sorceress Rites of the Elements. It also has its individual booklet right here. So I posed to my backers, the people that supported Rabid Dogs Volume 2, hey, how do you feel about me swapping out the Elementalist for the Missileer or the Guardian, which is a class that I've been working on as well. And the people that did respond were pro putting something different into Rabid Dogs Volume 2 instead of having it repeating from Sorceress Rites of the Elements, because so many of my backers do back multiple of my projects, so that would be, excessive overlap from their perspective. And so that is the plan. So that means, the Missileer or the Guardian, one of those will go into Rabid Dogs Volume 2, or maybe both. You never know. So, yeah, that has been some of the progress that's been made on Rabid Dogs. Additionally, I've been working on the master equipment list. So that was one of the things that was listed as being the article titled Business on Parade, named after the MDC song. The master equipment list is being compiled, here and there as I'm working on the different class guides and what have you. So that is all of the Kickstarters and what their status is. Rabid Dogs will, I'm hoping is going to ship in May. Tragedy at Woodwitch Rise will ship, hopefully start to ship at the end of March, if not the beginning of April. And Standard Courier Volume 2 will also be April, May-ish. So everything is coming along. Everything is slightly behind, except for Rabid Dogs Volume 2. That's not behind. But, that's kind of how things work around here. But I am really happy with the results of everything that is going on. So what is coming up next? The last Kickstarter I ran was in December. And those that have followed my trajectory know that something should be coming soon, especially with 2 of the previous Kickstarters shipping. So I want to do something small next. The next thing was supposed to be the Precipice of Corruption hardcover, and that is still definitely coming. But we want to be further along on that. And Hal and I are, we just had a meeting this week talking about some of the stuff with it. We want to, nail down the layout and details a little bit more concretely than the loosey-goosey way that I handle some of the zine projects. because, I don't have the big projects like Protector of Genulane are the ones that I have the hardest time completing in a timely manner because they're so big. And since Precipice of Corruption hardcover is going to be the biggest thing that we've ever done, I want to make sure that the layout is, almost done. All the details of all the stuff that we're going to do is all nailed down and everything is solid. So with that being said, that means that to keep things rolling, I want to do something little, just to get a small infusion of cash and get another project out into the world. And I've been using these NPC cards at all of my convention games and of course at my home table. And they have been exceedingly well received. People really like them because, it allows people to, instead of me just doing one of these, one of the children's story time. Hey, look at that picture, and moving on. When I can actually throw a character onto the table and they can pass it around, it gives that NPC, it gives them a solid look and a feel, and it allows everybody to take a good hard look at them, because this is a guy they're gonna hate, and so they're gonna want to remember this face. So with that being said, the NPC cards, at the first time that I showed these off a few months ago, it is the shadowy NPCs. Some people complained, or at least asserted that they really wanted stats to be on the back instead of a piece of art. So I am going to do a Kickstarter, and I think the goal will be to do both. People have the option of a plain back, so that they can use it for any game system, if they want to use it for 5e or whatever, but also have the DCC stats, maybe even have the option of Shadow Dark stats, because Shadow Dark stats and DCC stats are not that different. And I should have put the mock-up. I did a mock-up of the stats on the back of one of these, and I'm happy with it. So that's a quick project that we can crank out, and I think that would be a fun thing to do while we're waiting for the Precipice hardcover Kickstarter to drop. And it will be, this is 36 cards, but the final will be 54, because 52 plus 2 jokers. Yeah, and the jokers will be dogs, because of course there has to be dogs, and currently there are no dogs pictured in any of these other than the dog that's given Olnix Muttranger a little kiss. Where are you, Olnix? Can I find you quickly? Of course I can't. Oh, there he is. There's Olnix Muttwrangler and his cute little dog. All right, so enough about dogs and cuteness, because that's not what Stennard's about. Let's talk about, finally, let's get this done and over with by talking about Tragedy Across the Midwest. So, as I mentioned, I ran Tragedy at Woodwitch Rise at Polar Vortex Con. I also ran it at Midwinter. And I got this crazy idea. I've actually had this idea for a long time, that I want to go on tour. And because the ability to go from store to store to store to store, which is what my original dream was with touring. For those that don't know, I was a vocalist in a punk band for on and off for 20 years. So touring is kind of something that I love. I wanted to do that in a judge sense, in a GM sense. And so Tragedy Across the Midwest is my opportunity to go to a bunch of different conventions and run games. And I really, really want you to come and play at my table, because I bring it. I really I love to perform. I love to get in front of a group of people and have a good time and have people engage in that energy with me. So Polar Vortex already happened. That was last weekend. This coming weekend is CincyCon outside of Cincinnati, and that is March 1st through 3rd. I will be there with Trevor Stamper. We'll be repping Goodman Games at the Goodman Games booth, but I also have 2 games on the books. Please sign up. Last I looked, both the games had a couple of people signed up. They were both patrons. Yeah, I'd like to get more people at the table. I want asses in seats because that's what I love. So then coming up after that, what else do we got? We've got GaryCon. GaryCon will be March 21st through 24th, and then there is HoosierCon. HoosierCon is the 29th through 31st in Indianapolis. And then I've got DaveCon on the books, which is in Bloomington, Minnesota. And what does that say? It's really small. The print's really small. April 26th through 28th. And so that is to commemorate Dave Arneson, Professor Dungeon Master, and Baron DeRob. Neither of those people have any idea who I am, but I know who they are, and you probably know who they are too. So you should come and go to that convention and get to meet your favorite YouTube personalities and play at my table. So all that being said, that is what is going on with Breaker Press Games. Thank you for sticking it out for 16 whole minutes. Thank you for watching until the end. Thank you for supporting indie games and indie game designers. This is Nick, signing off.